And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
Flying weather for Saturday morning. We've got IFR here along the Arctic coast and a bigger area of IFR here pushing up into the southern Bering Sea, extending from Amchitka Island there eastward in toward False Pass. Otherwise, VFR Kodiak Island into Cook Inlet, and IFR here from the Gulf right up to the North Gulf Coast. From Whittier eastward to Yakutat, southeast coast VFR, and going into the afternoon, even more solid area of IFR now down here to the south, a lot of moisture coming northward. We've got IFR sliding right up the Alaska Range to Windy Pass, and some IFR still on the eastern Beaufort Sea coast, otherwise some improvement up there over the North Slope with some VFR, and areas of VFR here over the interior. And the southeast coast stays VFR, but marginal VFR pushing into the coastline. And then for Sunday morning, that IFR zone edges up toward the southeast coast, not quite making it though, and covering all of the North Gulf Coast here into Prince William Sound, Kodiak Island, IFR, western Cook Inlet, eastern slopes of the Alaska Range. North of the mountains though, VFR, and then some marginal VFR as you head north and northwest, getting into a zone of IFR there around Point Lay or so. And then a lot of IFR here for the eastern Bering Sea, right into the Yukon-Kuskokwim Delta. Maybe some of that spilling into the Kuskokwim Valley, but that'll extend back out across the Pribilof Islands to Adak and Atka, and then eastward here, linking up with the area over the Pacific. And for the afternoon Sunday, not a lot of change, still an area of IFR here, not quite as extensive from the southwest interior all the way back to the central Aleutians, and then eastward here, solid IFR south of the Alaska Range into the Gulf. A lot of IFR now spreading into the Panhandle and holding over the North Gulf Coast. A little bit of IFR there for the western Arctic coast. And for passes for Anatuvik and Adigan, occasionally marginal at times tomorrow. Could be some VFR breaks there for both passes at some point in the day Saturday. Lake Clark and Merrill, IFR for rainy, windy IFR. All those will see the lowest conditions on the eastern approaches. Southern entrance for windy seeing the lowest conditions. Could be VFR out the north side. And for Isabel, will be VFR tomorrow, as is Mentasta. Antonita, VFR as well. Portage, IFR, especially on the east side, but probably west side as well. And for Chilkoot and White, VFR. Freezing levels, 2,000 feet here, North Gulf Coast, 4,000 feet down over the Queen Charlotte Islands. And out to the west here, 2,000 to 4,000 feet over the eastern Aleutians. And for icing, a couple of pretty good areas, a lot of moisture coming up, so considerable moderate rime icing here spreading up into southern Alaska, Kodiak Island, eastward to Cordova, back across Bristol Bay to Cape Newenham, and another area there over the southern Bering Sea and the western Aleutians. And looking at the jet stream, we've got southwest flow here, coming up and over an area of high pressure farther to the south, so northwest winds, up the strongest northwest winds up to 115 knots there just east of the Panhandle, blowing into British Columbia. And otherwise, south winds here, mild southerly winds, about 65 to 70 knots there, westerly in the interior, and pretty light out here over the Bering Sea with the northerlies way back out there to the west, only at 65 knots. And for 9,000 feet, you can see where the front is, lying right just south of that 35-knot wind max there across the Bering Sea into the southwest interior. South winds 50 knots, Kodiak Island, and light to the north in the interior, and pretty light winds there for the southeast coast and the eastern Gulf. And at 3,000 feet, that light wind pattern continues even at this elevation there. Could see some southeasterlies at 35 knots there along the western North Gulf Coast into Prince William Sound. Light winds by comparison in the interior, and the strongest winds out here over the Bering Sea from the east and northeast, anywhere from 45 to 55 knots. And for turbulence, could be some considerable moderate turbulence here in a small area right along the western North Gulf Coast, maybe into Prince William Sound. More extensive though here for Bristol Bay, Kamishak Bay, Kodiak Island, Alaska Peninsula, and the entire Aleutian chain.